This is the best onion ring recipe.
Okay, so today we are trying to make the best onion rings for a bit of menu development. Quite simple recipe, to be quite honest. We're using a little bit of buttermilk and then letting it down with water, so it's quite nice and loose. And then we're going to season this up as well. So this is a little bit of salt, MSG. This is a house seasoning that we make, which is salt and pepper seasoning, but also you could probably just use white pepper and black pepper. That's kind of got it all mixed in together. And then this is just a little bit of cayenne pepper, just for the colour and also a little bit of heat. So just mix these spices up. A good hit of Tabasco. The acid in here just helps break the onions down as they marinate. And it also adds a nice bit of heat and a little bit of acidity to the onion rings. So what you're looking for is this lighter style of wet dredge. And it's obviously got salt in there, a little bit of acid from the Tabasco, and that's going to really help with breaking down the onions. And this is what I really like about this recipe. Sometimes the onions are a bit firm, or they are really, really soft, and basically you don't get any onion texture at all. Because it goes through a little bit of a marination process, lightly sort of softened on the inside. With white onions, it's always really important that you take off this outer membrane because it's really stiff and not very nice. But white onions are the best to use because they've got a much more delicate flavour and a better texture. So if you were to use like a big Spanish onion or a big just brown onion, it doesn't have it has a much tougher texture. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut them into like, I guess it's like ½ an inch. And then simply place them into our wet dredge. So they're going to sit in there for about 8 hours, or you can even do it overnight. When they stay inside the wet dredge, they just soften lightly so that when you're cooking them, they don't need a huge amount of cooking. They're basically almost ready to go. They're nice and soft. It also helps them absorb a little bit more of the flavour. So we've got like, you know, the spices in there and everything. So it's almost like, think about brining your meat. This is just brining your onion rings. One of my American employees was saying that he likes them when they're almost like onion flavoured, like but reconstituted. I think what I really hate is when you go to like a gastro pub and you get like a really thick, just deep fried onion, and then the batter just instantly just comes straight off the onion ring and it doesn't stick to it at all. I think that's the worst. That's the worst type of onion ring. They will basically just be marinating there for a minimum of 8 hours, and then you'll get something that looks a little bit like this. So it's started to break down already, and there we go. It's really, really, the buttermilk's firmed up a little bit in there, but you can see it's super, super broken down, you know. And this is the basis for us a perfectly cooked onion ring, because you've already started the softening process. We tried this a few different ways. So what we found was to do the best results was with sort of like a double dip dredge. So we go straight into the flour. Don't worry if you get a little bit of the wet mix into there, because those bits can get really nice and craggy as well. Stick to the onion rings in it really nicely. And then move them up. So this is what we're looking for. We're looking for this, like, almost like when you're making fried chicken, you've got that sort of craggy exterior, and there, can you see? All those different crags and all those little nooks and crannies, that's what's gonna get really crispy. Tap off any excess flour. That'll just help to secure the crags, if you can see. So some people always think that you need to almost cake the crags onto whatever you're frying, but it's actually the other way around. The crags are underneath, you just need to tap off enough flour to reveal them. From there, into our panko. And that just creates a nice barrier on the outside. And you've essentially got like a double layer of crisp now. So you've got the flour underneath with the batter. It's going to be super nice and crispy. And then panko is just like the ultimate in crunch. It's going to go on the top. But if you want to actually make these ahead of time, they freeze really well. So you can actually make a massive batch of these and then freeze them, and then they'll take less than a minute in the fryer. So they're super, super good on service as well, which is great. They're just the best. It's the best side. Okay, so our oil's nice and hot, 170. We would obviously use a fryer in the restaurant, but you can easily do this at home as well. Try not to crowd the pan with too much, otherwise you'll lower the temperature. Make sure you're turning them over a little bit whilst they're in the oil, so they get a nice even colour. Much easier to fry in a fryer because the heat's a lot more even throughout, but in a pot you'll just have to keep moving them around a little bit. So this is what we're shooting for. That layer of panko around the outside, beautiful golden brown, and then you can almost see underneath there is like a first layer of crisp. And it kind of, because of the second dredge, it kind of makes it that perfect onion shape as well, almost perfectly round. That's been about 5 minutes. I mean, look, the onion's already broken down, so all you're really doing is just cooking it until you've got it the desired colour, like a textbook perfect little onion ring right now. So what we're going to do is just finish these with a good hit of sour cream seasoning. And this is, we literally just got a pack of Pringles and 8 Pringles and tried to tweak a combination of onion powder, citric acid, MSG, salt, and then dehydrated chives as well, but it takes quite a lot of seasoning. Serving this with a blue cheese fondue. It's nice and thick, and just some chives on top of that. Well, there you have it. It's a super easy onion ring recipe. It is undoubtedly one of the easiest things to do